Guys, let's spend a bit of time with our lovely Changli today, shall we? Well, I mean, there is her story quest where I mean, what usually you get to go on a date with a specific character in their companion quest. But well, during the past week, I've been spending my time with Changli in other ways, kind of like, you know, stress testing her out as much as I can for the previous week, because while she is a character that, you know, I just straight up say captivated me into her playstyles, and there are a lot to talk about Changli as well, which is why, you know, I kind of want to make today's video dedicated to her, like after a lot of time spending with Changli and having my kind of like an after release review of Changli, and to give you guys my basic opinion on whether or not she was really worth it for you to pull at this point in time, because while it is an earlier part of the game and using your Astra at this point in time can cost you quite a lot because there are so many new characters just comes out every single patch. So obviously if you're not a dolphin or whales, even for low spender, you guys will have a lot of trouble if you do decide to try and get every single characters, right? So let's sit down today's video, chill, enjoy, and talk about our Changli. Now, first off, I kind of just wanted to straight up ask you guys what you think about Changli if you already have and tested her out, because while it is a discussion video and I would love to hear you guys comment as well, so yeah, just feel free to drop a comment below of sharing what you guys really think about Changli. But first off, yeah, let's touch on her, you know, power level, right? Because it's a thing that many would look into whenever you're choosing a character, because while if you're touching on Wuthering Wave, most of the time you're definitely going to be tackling the end game content and try to get the rewards as well, right? So power level of the character does kind of influence the decision at this point in time. For the more powerful character you have early on in the game, you know, it will increase your chances of being able to clear all of the TOA. Not that there have been so many good players out there being able to clear all of the TOA without needing all the, you know, the limited 5-star character, because I think that's how Wuthering Wave is. It is a very fun game, and I would say quite balanced to the point that you don't really need very powerful character in order for you to clear. It's just that makes it easier, but if you are up to the challenge, if you've got the skill, you will be able to clear it very well. And so for Changli power level, as you may have already known, there are a lot of sayings out there that, you know, Changli power level is okay, kind of like the lowest of the limited 5 stars at this point in time. And while yeah, to a certain extent I would agree, however, I don't think she's too far of a below that, because now how you actually play Changli isn't, you know, just going to be spamming her basic attack animation just to stack up, because she is a character that I would say is the hardest character to master at this point in time. But Changli relies on the player to be able to play her in a quick swap team, switching her around so that one, you get her intro skill, therefore getting her in her true sight state a lot faster to get her stack up, and secondly, while Changli at S0 does get interrupted quite a lot, which is why Kuro did a funny thing of, you know, selling a solution for you guys as S1. Not that something that I would agree, but well, it is what it is for Changli at this point in time. So her true sight states or her forte casting is the state that she deals the most damage in. However, she can be interrupted in that state. So if you don't actually play in a quick swap style and switch her out during that state and you get interrupted, that's going to be quite a lot of DPS loss for her. Unlike, you know, other characters like Jingxi, Yi Yan, right? You just get into their power up level where Jingxi gets her E skill nuke up and Yi Yan during his liberation burst state. The characters are a lot easier to play around, especially for Yi Yan, right? He's just basically an auto parrying beast at this point in time. Pairing him up with Morphe and he's already be able to deal a ton of damage for you. Whereas Changli, the main reason why many are seeing her power level being lower is because if you just only spam her basic attack, you're not maximizing how you play Changli or team build, because obviously if you're just going to be spamming her basic to charge up her stacks in opposed to switching to other character to charge up her intro skill, that's definitely going to be a lot longer, therefore costing you quite a bit of DPS. While if you're taking a look into Pride Gwen numbers of comparing whether or not you're doing quick swapping Changli playstyle, the difference can be quite substantial to the point where it's around 25 to up to a 30% difference into your higher DPS Changli level, which is actually very huge. So the main downside of Changli right now is obviously going to be her gameplay style, where it's actually very hard to master her, and she's not a character that's recommended for you to just spam button all the time. That expects her to do as well as the other limited 5 stars. One other slight downside at this point in time, I wouldn't say really too much of a downside, but it does contribute a bit to her lower power level, is because Changli doesn't have technically a pretty much dedicated support or character that can pull out her best potential at this point in time. Because other than Verena, who can support her decently well, the last slot on Changli team isn't set in stone. And the best at this point in time we're just going to be doing are mainly other characters that are going to be support or kind of like an other DPS. So Changli generally runs in a dual DPS team currently. Now I won't be touching specifically on her team at this point in time because I've already made a very in-depth guides on different Changli team. However, Changli team isn't being set in stone right now does contribute to a pretty good point because her team is very diverse and you can actually use 2 DPS character on, Changli team, therefore potentially slot in another favorite character of your choice, right? For example, I love Encore and Encore obviously works on Changli's team. Therefore, I have 2 of my favorite DPS character to be on one team and play them very well. However, another thing for the team is that basically for each of a different team she's building, for her to maximize that team, the rotation of those quick swap team can change pretty dramatically, which also contribute to another level why Changli mastery is actually so on the top tier right now. Is very hard to master her if you are, those enthusiasts who are looking into mastering Changli. Because for example, Sanhua team or Encore or up to a Jingxi Changli team, those team rotations are tremendously different to each other in order for you to get the maximum damage output for those teams and the rotational correctly. The amount of time you've got to practice is actually insane for Changli, which is one of the main reasons why I find her so captivating. And I think this is a good point for us to transition to talking about Changli's good side. Is that obviously if you're someone who are going into Wuthering Wave looking for a bit of a challenge, then yes, Changli is right there for you to actually master right now. However, for me personally, I just love character like this where there are kind of like a skill ceiling gap for you to play around with, making it a lot more rewarding and kind of like a feeling that the game is respecting your time if you are putting enough effort into this character. Another thing is that Changli is one of the better characters that you can play solo with. Now, soloing content isn't something that everyone do, but for those of us who love soloing content, yes, Changli is an absolutely perfect character for that because technically speaking, she doesn't need any other character to complete her kit or stacks. She can just do everything by herself. Unlike, Zhiyan, for example, who is definitely required to have his liberation up. So while you can solo with him, but putting into a team where the other character does contribute to building his liberation up helps a lot more. For Jingxi, while yeah, she is definitely not a character you'll want to solo with, she heavily relies on your other team member to charge up her stacks. So that leaves Changli, who is an absolutely powerful character in soloing content. For her damage is quite spread out more into her basic and her skill. Those talent, if you upgrade, can do very good damage. And obviously when you get to her forte as well as her liberations is up, she's going to be doing a lot of damage right there. However, those are only the point where we're trying to look on the bright side and choosing some of the good point for Changli when comparing to other character. But she has one major thing that sets her completely apart from any other character in the game right now. And if you look into it, she's technically a top tier, and that's going to be when it comes to the overworld. Well, sorry to disappoint all of the meta lovers, because open world gacha game like Genshin Impact and Wuthering Wave doesn't just focus on, the end game very tough combat, but you also have the overworld exploration, grinding, as well as farming, right? You cannot take out that part, especially in Wuthering Waves. And Changli, I would say, is a top tier character for the overworld. She is literally the queen of the overworld world right now because of the fact that she can honestly pretty much do anything better and a lot faster than any character out there in the game. For example, farming the mobs for your material, or grinding through domains or tacit field. She just does it so very well because of the fact that she does not rely on any of the setup in order for her to deal damage. If you level up her basic attack talent, she's always going to be shredding your enemies so fast in the overworld that many of the time you just do not need your stacks to be up to clear out content. Not to mention, guys, from her true sight to her E skill to her forte and her liberation have such incredible AoE and gap closer that just contribute to so easy farming. The gap closer is insane, guys. Whenever you just cast a true sight, her E skill, she just closes into your enemies just even if they are pretty far away, which makes the farming in group situation feels very smooth. And oh, that's not all, because she's also incredible at this too. As you can see, she just basically clears out rocks like it's nothing. I know that Jinxie was a character that was very good at clearing out so many rocks at the same time, but Changli just takes it to the next level. Oh my god, whenever you just use her E skill, any rocks in the vicinity just basically gets deleted. And whenever you run out of your E skill, you can just basically use her basic and she just like chop them up like they are nothing. So it's very interesting to see that in Wuthering Wave, you don't really have to rely on, large sword character like a broad blade, just like in Genshin Impact where you requires you to have a claymore character to clear out rocks. So Wuthering Wave just respects a lot of your grinding time by doing this, which is very fun. And as if it's not already enough, there's also the icing on top, where guys, Changli can quite literally infinitely fly if you know how to do it, making traversing, in the overworld, I wouldn't say that much faster, but it does contribute to the fun factor of Changli. Now, I can't really fly just yet. I've been trying to practice it, but for some reason, I like the tutorial on YouTube. I can't really glide after I use her E skill. So if any of you out there who knows what I'm doing wrong, feel free to leave it down in the comment section, so I would really appreciate it. So we've been talking quite a lot about Changli at this point in time. Now I want to give my personal opinion of how I feel about Changli at this point in time. What I think is that Changli is still going to be very heavily a preference character, because mainly one thing is because she is a DPS character, and right now her power level isn't really, on top of the top, so that if you are, kind of like focusing on the meta, you have to get her, but she comes down to a lot of skill involved, which is something for me personally, I really love that about Changli, and it's one of the reasons why I came to Wuthering Wave in the first place, is to have a bit of a challenge and have character that you are required to master in order for you to be good at them, right? I've seen so many players being opposed to the idea of characters having very high PO ceiling, which makes the game being too hard and therefore Wuthering Wave being less popular. However, I actually think it's going to be quite the opposite, because having different appealing characters and character that requires skill base will appeal to different type of audience, which one makes Wuthering Wave have a lot less of a competition directly to what Genshin Impact actually, especially later on when more gacha game comes, since Genshin directly caters toward lower skill players, and then you have Wuthering Wave to focus more on skill base, and that in of itself has huge potential, because while take games like Elden Ring for example, it's a freaking hard game, yet it's one of the most popular video game out there. So it's actually really refreshing to see character like this, in which I've been testing so many different type of team for Changli during the past week, and I have actually yet to master her until this point, and I'm still a very far way to go. So I'm really in love with this character playstyle. I really do enjoy her honestly, and I would love to have more character like this in the future, where it's kind of like a skill based requirement for you to play to their fullest potential. So that's all I've got for Changli at this point in time, guys. I hope that was a very enjoyable video for you. Again, leave it down in the comment section what you guys think of Changli. If you have any discussion point, just leave it down right there and I will get to you there. Now guys, I have a very in-depth Changli team guide once again, where I go through basically all of her best teams as well as specific rotation for you guys to practice if you are a Changli enthusiast. So be sure to check out the video there. Again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on my future Wuthering Wave videos. I really appreciate you guys staying with me to this part of the video, guys, and with that I wish you a super day, and I'll catch you on my next video.